You might have thought the 10 mil was macho, but the MCX is something else. It's savage. So you're gonna grab that barrel and you're gonna flex, yeah, flex on the pour. Oh yeah, flex on those pores.
I'm a big fan of AKs and the 7.62X39mm cartridge in general, which is why this new Spear LT had me really excited. As an AK lover, I have a pretty decent stash of the ammo and have developed a love for the round. Plus, when I saw the new Spear LT being offered in my favorite caliber using its short-stroke piston operation with the gun's excellent modularity, I thought I might have finally found the ultimate AK replacement. But after 800 rounds with the new Spear, I have a very different opinion of it. See, the Spear LT in 7.62X39mm is a pre-2016 fedora-wearing Portland hipster of the AK alternatives. He scoffs at avarice and decadence while carrying a $6,000 MacBook paid for by his investment banker father. Because the Spear LT in 7.62 takes the two most appealing aspects of owning an AK back in circa 2005 and throws them laughably into the garbage. Cheap rifles and cheap ammunition, in favor of superior ergonomics and modularity. Which isn't to say the gun is incapable, it certainly is, because the Spear can LARP with the rest of the AKs, blasting away 30 caliber rounds all day without a hiccup, but can swap out to more Western calibers with an Allen key, complete upper, and a checkbook. But what is it? Well, the new Spear LT is the latest iteration of the MCX carbine that the folks at Exeter, New Hampshire have been churning out for the better part of a decade. The latest version, the Spear LT, is simply a lightened version with an ambi bolt release and an attractive FDE color scheme. The Spear feeds from ASC-style Stanag pattern 7.62x39mm magazines and includes a 28-round example in the box. Now, these mags have been notoriously unreliable in the past, but I never encountered a magazine-related failure in all of my testing. On a side note, if you're going to be shooting from a prone position or even from a bench, invest in some of the 20-round versions because they're way more compact. For those of you not familiar with the MCX, it was SIG's answer to the military demands for a more reliable weapon than the aging M4. While only the integrally suppressed version saw U.S. military adoption under the Surge program, many police departments and civilian shooters alike have found the guns to be excellent. And these experiences have mirrored my own with the 5.56 and 300 Blackout versions at least, but the 7.62X39mm version is a little bit of a different story. During the course of my time with the Spear LT, I've fired 800 rounds of Tula, Wolf, Barnaul, and Bellum ammo through the gun. And during that time, the only issues I ever encountered with reliability were with a suppressor mounted. Now, all of these issues stem from the gun being overgassed with a can installed. Yes, the Spear LT has an adjustable gas valve, but it only has two positions, normal and adverse. According to the manual, I should keep the gas valve to the standard position for suppressed use, but in my experience, this caused failures to feed roughly 10% of the time. And just for the record, every one of these failures caused the round to nosedive into the feed ramp, setting the bullet too far back into the case to be safe to shoot. Now, without a suppressor installed, the Spear LT in 7.62 ran flawlessly. But there are a few other issues I want to mention. The first, and the biggest to me personally, is felt recoil. I've shot dozens of AK rifles in tens of thousands of times, and with the exception of a Draco, maybe, none of them have had as much recoil as a Spear. Which is really odd if you think about the physics involved. I mean, AKs are long-stroke piston-driven rifles and, as such, have a massive reciprocating bolt carrier group that chugs back and forth with every trigger pull. And this translates into, well, more stout recoil. Russia addressed this by changing the gas block to 90 degrees and installing a massive 2-port comp on the end of the barrel in their 100 series of guns. The Spear, on the other hand, uses a short-stroke piston system which, in the simplest of terms, means that the piston isn't attached to the bolt carrier and thus reduces the weight and felt recoil of the reciprocating mass inside the gun. Despite this, the Spear LT kicks more like a light-loaded 308 G3 than an intermediate caliber carbine. Now, if you're scratching your head and wondering how the hell that's even possible, there's really only one explanation: gas. The 7.62X39mm Spear LT is simply overgassed. And I completely understand why, though. The engineers at SIG didn't want someone using the cheapest AK ammo possible and having malfunctions due to low-power ammo. A better, albeit more expensive solution would be to have a 3-position gas valve with a low, standard, and high setting, and I assume the reason that SIG didn't go with this are cost and logistics of adding another caliber-specific component to production. And don't worry, I'm getting to the elephant in the room in a second, but first, I want to talk about the gun's core accuracy. With standard steel case Soviet ammo, the Spear LT and 7.62 regularly produce groups hovering around 2.3 MOA. When I fed the brass case quote-unquote good stuff from Bellum and Norma, these groups shrunk to an incredible 1.3 MOA. This just goes to show that with a proper rifle, 7.62X39 is very capable of good accuracy. But what about the whole barrel flex issue? All right, so if you're not familiar, some people on the internet were saying that they could cause either the barrel or the handguard to shift if they squeeze the two together with their hands. And they're not wrong, it's 100% true. It's also true that unless you're running a laser sight or irons, it doesn't matter. Because in my experience, the barrel doesn't actually shift when squeezed, merely its position relative to the handguards does, which suggests that the handguard itself moves, not the barrel. Now, I tested 2 magazines worth of ammo, roughly 60 rounds, and shifting the handguards as hard as I could without tools, and shooting groups to see if this caused a wandering zero issue, and it didn't. It also didn't measurably affect accuracy. And yes, I saw the posts online of people pressing the Spear LT's handguards against a wall and shooting groups and having accuracy issues. If this surprises you, congratulations on owning your first gun. All guns have issues with consistent groupings if you drastically alter the barrel's harmonics between shots. This is the whole reason that free-floating a barrel is such a big deal when it comes to accuracy. Now, does this mean that it's a total nothing burger? No. The gun should definitely be more rugged than it is, but it's not the smoking gun that every quote-unquote internet expert claims that it is. Plus, check your favorite AR-15. The handguards do the exact same thing unless you have like an LMT with a monolithic upper. And if the issue keeps you up at night, guess what? The fine folks at Aerosocket Defense make a barrel clamp replacement that totally solves the issue for 50 bucks. No, you should not have to buy an aftermarket part to have this, but you're already $2,500 into the gun. What's 50 bucks? All right, so what's my verdict? Well, with an MSRP of nearly 2,500 bucks, the Spear LT is not a cheap gun. It's also not the AK killer that I personally hoped it would be. But I can't jump on the hate train against it either. It's an interesting take on the MCX carbine chambered in a cool round that isn't incredibly expensive and makes a great hog-slaying tool. As it stands, the Spear LT is a far cry from a replacement for my AKs, or really even my Galil Ace in 7.62X39. But if the gun had a third gas setting and or fed from AK magazines, I would literally sell some of my AKs to buy it. Thanks, guys. For AmmoLandTV, I'm Jim Grant. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And as always, I will catch you guys on the flip side.
Dude, it just ripped like 6 of my mustache hairs out.